Hi everybody, welcome back to the freaking Jeep garage. As you can see behind me, I got the Jeep in here, and obviously by the title, the oil cooler on this thing is starting to leak. And there's a ton of videos out there for the V6 models, I'm sure, the gassers. There aren't a whole lot of videos out here for this, and I'm sure you can watch other people's videos and get the same idea, but I usually try to be a little better with some of my videos and a little bit better with the explanations. And I like to point out the tools. So I'm not going to get any tools out yet. I'm going to do the whole dang job first, and then I'll figure out what I need for tools, and then we'll come back to those. Maybe I'll give you a chance here. I'll try to. Okay, we're going to take a minute here, and I'm done with the job. This is future me with what I have used for tools. And granted, I've got some specialty tools. Most of these, you can do this with basic tools. But what I've got a basic metric socket set with deeps and shallow. You're going to need a couple of ratchets. I have this mini one I really like using. If you don't have one, you can use a 1/4 inch drive. Probably should have a 1/4 inch drive set also, but got a couple of ratchets, right? I have these are kind of a special thing for popping sensor apart. They're not required, but they're handy. Okay, that's what I got. I've got my impact 1/4 inch drive. Basically, you need a good 3/8 set and a good 1/4 inch drive set. The only thing I really took advantage of was this Matco wobble extension. I also have a Harbor Freight Pittsburgh wobble extension. That's just to get a couple of those tight bolts, but realistically, you should be able to get it with just a 1/4 inch drive set. A little bit of elbow grease. Nut driver, 1/4 inch ratchet, a couple of 10 millimeter beater. Use pliers for hose clamps if you need them. The hose clamps on the cooler, on that line, that 5/8 or 3/4 inch heater hose. I don't remember. I think originally it has spring clamps. Because I've changed it, I ditched the spring clamps. The Jungle website has a really cool hose clamp pliers set for doing all the different automotive hose clamps. I think if I remember correctly, it was like $25 or something. Go buy it. I mean, if money's tight, I understand, but it is so handy. I actually put them all away. I don't have those out. This here is basically a hose hook. It's a pick from a big set from Swan Lake. Another one of those things you got off the Jungle website. Just a regular plastic rivet tool. That one sensor I had to switch was a 24 millimeter. And then this here was just so I could check the oil filter. It's a regular oil filter, inch and a 16. This was what I'll talk about later in the video. Very handy. It's just a thumb wheel I put on my extension. Not required, but very handy. This is basically the tools you need to gather up to do the job, other than some way to capture and clean up your oil and antifreeze mitts. Now let's get back to doing the job. Okay, so now that we've got an idea what we need for tools, and at that point this is probably all done already and ready to drive out the door, but at this point in the video we're just getting started. So with tools in hand, we got to drain the antifreeze. I'm going to drain the whole antifreeze system out. There's a couple of hoses on the back or a hose on the back that is not easy to get to, and I'll show you that in just a moment with the new oil cooler I've got sitting next to me. I did notice a problem with this thing earlier, a few months ago, and I changed the oil cooler, the heat exchanger gasket and heat exchanger, because those are really common failure points. They tend to delaminate inside and leak internally. So I changed that first as a quick option. It's much easier, much quicker to change just that versus changing the whole oil filter housing. Although in reality, it really isn't that bad. It's just a lot tighter squeeze on a few of the things. But it is easily done in the driveway. I did it on the Ghost a few years ago. I just didn't make a video on it because I was in a hurry and I didn't know what I was doing, and I was doing it literally in the side yard in the grass. Just one of those, I didn't have an opportunity to make video. I do have the opportunity now. So let's get into it. Okay, as you can see in front of us, I have an oil cooler sitting on this bag. This is the bag it came in. This is the heat exchanger. This is usually pretty easy to change. You know, it's just I think T40 Torx here. T32 Torx maybe, yeah. T45 looks like. 6 bolts, you pull that out, you can change this. It doesn't even make that much of a mess, but that's why I changed that first. So to change the whole unit, we've got a bracket, a bolt back here that we have. There's 3 bolts down here, 2 long and a short. And then the oil pressure sending unit, I think that is, or oil temperature, I don't know. Oil temperature. And then we've got just 1 3/4 5/8 heater hose line in the back. That's the one that's kind of difficult to get to. It can be done from up top. It can be done from underneath if you lift it up. I obviously have a lift, so I'm going to lift the Jeep up if I have to get to that. But let's dig into this. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, just to get started, I'm taking this lower skid plate, or mine isn't exactly a skid plate, it's more of a just a noise barrier, but this front cover. So I want to get to the radiator to drain it. Okay, I'm looking from below. I'm looking at the bottom of the oil cooler up here. Let's see if I can get that light to stay up in there. I'll leave it. I'll zoom you guys in a little bit. So there's the new heat exchanger I put in. Right, I have. Here we go. You can see I have that hose I've replaced because it blew out on me once. But I have to get that hose off that goes in the back. And then there is that sensor in there, and that's about it. Not easy to get at, not a fun spot, but this is looking from underneath. That's what you gotta get from underneath here. It's kind of difficult to get from up top. So I'm gonna pull this. I'm at least gonna get the hose clamps loosened up, and we'll go from there. Next, we're gonna have to make some room in here, get this air cleaner set up out of the way. I've got an aftermarket one, so might be a little bit different than what you're looking at, but the idea is the same. It's got to come out, got to get out of the way. I got to unhook this mass air. Pop this aside. There we go. Oh, get this out of the way. There we are. You'll have to just take your air box out, the top and bottom. That's opened up enough room for me here. I got my power steering bottle here out of the way. And just set that down over there. I have this tube here for my catch can, got to get out of the way. This is air conditioning. I'm going to leave that line in there. But I am much closer now. I have a pan underneath here. I know I watch a lot of channels myself, YouTube channels, and they just dump everything on the shop floor, clean it up later. I'm not that way. I took an old van gas tank, plastic, and I cut it in half, and I use that as a catch basin. It makes a nice big square, catches like 80% of what I drop on the floor. So it's so much easier to clean up. You at home, you might not have that. I get it. Make your mess, clean it up. But I am ready to get in here now and get these bolts out. I'd try to stick you down in there to see, but once I get my arms in there, I can't see, so I don't know where I'll put the camera. So I'm going to dive in, and I'll bring you back after. Okay, I'm looking down the back side here. In the center of the screen, right down here, you can see where I'm pointing. There is one bolt for that bracket that goes across, and it attaches to the block below this bolt that you can see. And it's a little tight for my big hand, so I'm just going to take this off the bracket here. I'll leave the bracket in there, and we'll just take the bracket off the new one. Okay, so I've got 2 of the 3 bolts out. The other bolt here is loose. I've got it draining into that pan down below. 2 bolts are like this. The other one's short, and I've already dropped that and lost it. So I don't know. Once I get the oil cooler out of there, hopefully I'll be able to find it then. Okay. Tilt this thing one way or the other here. Should come out. A little wiggle and a jiggle, I think. You gotta get this other hose off. It'll be easier with this hose off of there. This is a good opportunity to replace this hose. It's like 6 inches or 8 inches long. It isn't big, but it is difficult to get to. I just, let's see, it's about Yeah, 7 or 8 inches long. It's much easier to change now than when it blows in 2 weeks. Okay, now that we are at the bench, I like to put this stuff side by side and compare. And as you can see, side by side, this one has 2 sensors, the new one only has 1. So we've got to switch that over. Looking at the post fittings, this one's a little bit longer than this one, but looks okay. We're going to have to swap that out. We're going to have to get us a socket for that. Let's see, I got it. See, that's got like a steel washer on it, or copper maybe. Doesn't seem to want to pop off. Put that back on there. Couple of rattles to make sure it ain't loose. Don't want it leaking. Okay. Take this bracket off because I left that on the engine. It'll be easier to get in there anyway with that off. Everything else looks okay. I'm just going to take this cap off here, make sure that there is an oil filter in here. Yep, got an oil filter in there. All right. Don't need to be super tight. A little bit more than half tight, literally. Over here are my gasket, it's a rubber gasket. Pliable. It's not cut in place, which is a good thing. So it looks like we are ready to go put this thing back in. Okay, one thing you got to remember with putting this thing in is that there is an alignment pin or stud or sleeve, whatever you want to call it, on the 1 bolt, forward bolt. And if you don't get that lined up, you're going to wreck it, and you're going to have a leak, and you're probably going to be upset. So something to keep in mind while you're working on it. I got my light here in there. Nice bright one so I can see what I'm doing. I can see what I'm doing. You probably can't. Just isn't enough room for all of us to get in there. All right. I've got this set up that I'm getting in there with. I like this little thumb wheel extension that I got that showed up in my tools a long time ago. I believe I got it through a rummage sale when I bought some tools. Been quite handy over the years. And that was mistaken. The alignment stud or sleeve is on the rear hole, rear top hole of this. Make sure you get it lined up. Don't tighten anything up until you have it all snugged up by hand, finger tight. The two long ones in, now I've got to try to weasel that little short bottom screw in. It's not easy, and what I'm working with on that right now, I've got a 1/4 inch drive, and technically I've got a Mac called 1/4 inch wobble tip. I don't know if you're gotta have it, but it sure makes it easier to get in that tight spot. Oh, and there goes my bolt. Okay, so now I've got all those bolts. Those 3 bolts are in there. They're tight. I got the bolts in the back of that bracket. That is now tight. On this side, basically all we gotta do is put this stuff back in. We have to lift this thing up and put that 8-inch piece of hose on. All right, we have got that oil cooler changed. As you could see kind of in the video, it's really not that difficult. There's a couple of difficult parts to it that are just difficult to reach. Realistically, you could do it in the driveway in a couple of hours. You are going to make a mess. Be prepared to, have yourself a tote or something you could stick underneath, because you're going to have an oily antifreeze mess. With that in mind, I got the air cleaner put back in, my air intake, the catch can is all back in place. I put all the skid plates back in. The overflow bottle or the expansion tank, I took that out. I put some kerosene in it, or acetone or mineral spirits, something to that effect. I shook it up and I dumped it out, and I did it again and I dumped it out, and use a little brake cleaner just to clean it up. I put it back in. Right now it's got antifreeze in it. It is burping down. I changed the oil. We're going to back this thing out here in a few minutes and get the rest of the air out of the system. So with that in mind, I'm going to wrap this video up. And I want to apologize. I took my sweatshirt off at some point during the video. That had the microphone on. So my audio changed during the video, not intentionally, but I hung my sweatshirt over there, left the microphone off, forgot to grab it. Luckily, it picked up all the audio, so not too big a deal. It just got a little bit more of an echo to it, and I apologize. With that in mind, though, I'm going to wrap this up. Make sure you subscribe and share with your friends, and maybe on social media. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. If you have any questions, leave me a comment down here. I tend to try to get to them, in a timely manner. And remember to build it bigger, better, faster, but just build it. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.